Hello, everyone. Welcome to the original Next Level Gaming podcast. I am Mike Mullis, and I've got my intrepid crew with me tonight. Enrique, how you doing, brother?
I am doing very well, thank you.
Brian, thanks for coming in again.
What is up, Mike? Let's talk video games.
Oh, man, those messages you left me were hilarious. Oh, man, it's been a fun week, and we haven't even gotten to hump day yet.
Wednesday.
So, once again, it's going to be the three of us this week. We are still awaiting the arrival of Amber. She's having internet trouble tonight, so we'll just get her in as soon as she gets her stuff all fixed and things like that.
There was a pop-up Destiny convention.
It was last minute.
It was last minute Destiny off.
Right, the developers had a raid.
Taken King.
Right,
yes.
Right. The raid and the prize for the raid was a copy of the Taken King.
Apparently there was a real made Galahorn that they were giving away.
I was going to ask what's a Galahorn, but let's just not do it.
Yeah, let's not go.
I was going to say,
it sounds like something you get on Thanksgiving, stuffed with like candy.
That's exactly it. Oh my goodness.
Boy.
All right, so we got a few things to talk about, and I promise our good listeners we're going to try not to have a 2-hour and 37-minute podcast.
Yes, we cannot do that, please.
No,
I have
we
to get
can't.
my sleep. I'm old and I need it.
We are old, and speaking of old,
speak for yourselves.
Speaking of old, we have an old game that just released. So Gears of War is out today.
Yes.
Anybody who was wanting to laugh hysterically, hopefully you have gone and checked out the NLG plays that I did last night before the official launch, where I basically got my rear end handed to me for 2 hours.
You know, you should have just called that the "Are You Kidding Me?" Let's play. Because all I heard was, "Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" Every time he died.
And he kept calling out his teammates.
Yeah.
Oh, they're worthless.
Yeah.
Every other word was, "Oh, Dom, you're down again. Dom, you're dead again.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's Kim now. Oh, look, it's Carmine."
Just drop it down to normal, and you'll be good.
Normal.
Yeah.
There's no such. I don't know where you. I haven't even.
Normal is normal.
Normal is easy.
You know, Mike, that Twitch stream was almost as bad as my driving at Batman.
That was terrible.
I don't know, man.
You're driving in Batman, something that they show to prisoners to get them to talk.
Holy cow.
It was.
You will tell us where the microfilm is. Watch this person play Batman.
The microfilm.
No.
The microfilm.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So, all right.
geez.
So you guys both have it.
Yes.
Yes.
I do.
All right. And,
I just played the multiplayer tonight.
Yeah. How was that? We're gonna stream some multiplayer this week before the review,
Multiplayer kicked my ass.
and that's what I'm afraid of.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
think
it's
I'm that bad at the single player? Good grief.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was decent at Gears, 9 years ago. But yeah, it's not easy. I mean, and plus, I think I was playing against a clan or something. These guys were working together, the other team, so that didn't help.
Give me your thoughts on the remake, because obviously our review is going to be up towards the end of the week. We're going to do some more streaming of it. I'm hoping we could stream some co-op and then stream some multiplayer and really lead that into our review. I know most of the press has reviewed it already. Hang out for ours. We're ours is coming. We were blessed enough to get the code, but just got it late. So, but give me your quick thoughts on it.
Well, I love it so far. I mean, I haven't had the chance to play the campaign mode other than watching you Twitch stream me last night, but the multiplayer is great. I mean, it's really everything that we thought or dreamed about when we were playing Gears 9 years ago. With not having any lag, not having to worry about host advantage, and having the dedicated servers in 60 frames a second. It's beautiful. And so the multiplayer is just, at least from what I've seen so far, it's been awesome.
I haven't played any of the multiplayer. I don't really plan on playing too much of the multiplayer. I'm just a single player guy, but it's Gears. It's Gears of War. You played it 10 years ago, right, or 9 years ago?
2006, November 2006.
So it's Gears of War. It's the same game. It's it's still that game. It still brings you back to what was great about that game, and it's got a fresh coat of paint. It's just a nice nod to where Gears was, and it gets you excited for where Gears is going to be next.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the big elephant in the room is there have been a couple of reviews that have been kind of bizarre to me. And, I think that, and I've heard this, I've had a couple of discussions on Twitter about this in the last day, and I can understand the point, so I'm not going to sit here and say, well, those guys are just out of their mind. I mean, I get the idea. Some people are saying, well, you have to judge the game by what it is against today's standards. Mm-hmm. And I disagree with that vehemently. I think that you judge it. First off, we're in a position now where we have this kind of uncharted territory where we're seeing just remake after remake after remake, remaster after remaster after remaster. We didn't have that last generation. We didn't have that coming into the Xbox 360 and PS3 and Wii. So this is new territory where we have all of these games just being remastered. Well, in my opinion, you have to judge that remaster upon the original, not against what games are today. I mean, am I wrong on that?
I think it's a dangerous thing to judge games from the past on current trends or current, the evolution of a certain style of gameplay today, and judging a game from 9 years ago on the standard today. Because what's the point of having gaming posterity? What's the point of having retro gaming? I mean, games are supposed to be appreciated. You're supposed to remember what it was that made a game that you played a while ago fun. Now, I made an analogy about a car. If I owned a 69 Mustang, I'm not going to say, well, the 69 Mustang, it does not do what the 2015 Mustang does. Therefore, the 69 Mustang is crap. No, the 69 Mustang is a classic. You've got to appreciate what it did in 1969. You cannot say it doesn't do 150 miles per hour today in 2015, so therefore there's nothing for anybody. I would like to run out and buy a 69 Mustang. Most people would, right?
I would say so. I think what people are trying to pull into that, though, is that that 69 Mustang was reissued as a 2015 like a reissue, like a guitar reissue.
Yeah.
As a musician, Brian, you would know this a little bit, and Enrique, you're a musician too, right?
Yeah, casual musician.
All right.
He's like,
so it's like Fender reissuing a 69 Strat.
Yeah, but it's not a 69 Strat, though. You know what I mean?
Yes, but it has all the.
It's like my Les Paul.
It's paying homage to the 69 Strat, and you appreciate what the 69 Strat was because you can't afford a real 69 Strat.
Right.
But it's strange to say, the same AI issues transferred over from the first Gears and the same kind of clunky camera angles transferred over. Well, it's supposed to transfer over because it's a reissue of the original game.
Right.
It's a trip down memory lane. And if your memory was fond 10 years ago, then your memory should still be fond today. I wouldn't say that, Mario 64 is crap because Mario Sunshine was great and the mechanics were better. It's still a great platformer, Mario 64.
Absolutely. Now, what I would say is that there are places where you could say, there are things they could have worked on.
Yes.
The AI, I think, is a fair.
It is.
That's a fair point to make if you're critiquing the game, to say they could have worked on the AI for this.
A bit, yeah.
Again, you look at watch the play from yesterday and just listen to how many times I threw Dom and Kim and Carmine under the bus because
listen to my curse.
Right.
And there's plenty of times where you'll come around a corner where there's a locust hiding and you're right behind him and he just doesn't notice you and you can just stand there and shoot him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I understand that point of view. I just don't think that saying that, well, it hasn't aged well, so therefore it's not good, it's the same game. You
right.
know, those issues were there 10 years ago.
When you gave it a 9.6.
Right, but I mean, of course, there were games 10 years ago, 9 years ago that had better AI than Gears of War did.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. It's a strange thing. I mean, I look at old games fondly. I don't judge them on today's standards. I judge them on what they were and the memories that I had with them when I played them. And you have to do that, or else why have any sort of, you know, posterity with games, or why be into indie games or retro games or stuff like that? It's just, you know, you have to judge them on what they were if somebody's giving it back to you in its same state as it was 10 years ago.
Agreed. And I think it is. And it's the campaign that I think I take most issue with people, you know, that review the game that say, you know, well, the campaign doesn't hold up. Well, it's the same campaign as it was. Are you expecting a new story? Are you expecting... Like, I could understand if this was Gears 4, and it was just rehashed Gears 1 with nothing.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Right,
that would make sense.
Right.
This particular game does not. And I, you know, it's weird because everything about the game that, from its baseline, bringing in the AI issues and all that stuff, still has massive improvements to it. Textures. As Enrique said, multiplayer and 60 frames per second. They brought in the PC campaign stuff that was, you know, kind of that was missing out of the 360.
Yeah.
And it's only $40, which creates value. And you get, I called it on the stream, 4.5 games, because you get the original Gears 1, plus you get 2, 3, and Judgment is backwards compatible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great deal. And I don't think this game is targeted towards new gamers anyway. I don't think this is a game that people are running out that have never had an Xbox before to go get an Xbox for. This game was built to get those 360 owners that love Gears of War up to the one.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a problem with the review scores, but I know, like, you know, we're referencing one particular review score and one particular site, and it is a strange review. It is out there. It is the outlier.
It is.
You know, but you, at the end of the day, you really can't let a reviewer tell you, you know, what you should be enjoying. Just buy. It's Gears of War. Everyone knows what to expect with Gears of War.
That was my point.
Right. And you played it. You played it 9 years ago. You loved it. You're going to love it now with a fresh coat of paint. So don't worry about it. You know.
Yeah. Well. Go ahead, Enrique.
No, I was going to say, you know, to Brian's point, I think he hit it dead on with everything he said. And, you know, for me, I'm actually enjoying the game a little bit more from just my brief time with the multiplayer, because I'm not dealing with issues like lag, or I'm not dealing with issues like, you know, host advantage. And it's interesting, actually, as we're talking about reviews, one site actually did not include, you know, the multiplayer aspect of the game. And I found that to be kind of interesting, because to me, I think where the biggest improvement in this game is the multiplayer piece. In Gears, for a lot of people, is multiplayer. You know, is team deathmatch, is King of the Hill. And, you know, I remember 9 years ago, you know, being up till, 4 in the morning, sometimes till the sun coming up, playing Gears online. So, and we would, you know, we would try to find that perfect host, you know, where there wasn't any lag, where it was competitive, where people weren't dropping off. So, you know, to me, the biggest improvement's the multiplayer. And I was surprised that, at least in one review, that wasn't mentioned or wasn't even touched.
It is interesting because, you know, the idea that it didn't evolve with today's games, and that's why it's sort of scoring lower. But I'm not a multiplayer guy, so I'm not really going to speak too big on it, because I don't know enough about it. I haven't played it a lot. But from what you're saying, they did touch on the multiplayer and bring it into today's sphere of gaming with a higher frame rate, you know, more fluid and stuff like that. So they worked on that area, but they kept the original single-player game the same. And that's probably what they wanted to do. So the idea of they didn't change enough in the single-player is a strange thing to do, because I'm not buying remakes or remasters, you know, for a completely different story or a completely different game. I'm buying it because I played it a long time ago and I loved it, and I'd like to revisit it now with a fresh coat of paint. And to me, that's enough.
Yeah, and you know, Brian, I'll even say this with the multiplayer. And again, I've only played maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not a multiplayer guy.
But just based on what I've seen, from what I remember playing 9 years ago, and what I played today, it's a huge improvement, and it probably does a better job of on the multiplayer side than other multiplayer games that I played this generation for, hitting the 60 frames a second, pretty much being lag free.
Is it on dedicated servers?
Yeah, it's on dedicated servers.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's an update right there too. That brings it into 2015. So it's kind of hard to not score the multiplayer side high and include it even in a review, but then say, well, there's not enough done to the single player, even though it's a remake of the game 10 years ago.
Right, where they rebuilt every asset.
Yeah, so we're really only talking about one review score. That's the outlier. It is strange, but everyone knows it's a great game. Pick it up, play it. It's just a lot of fun, and it does look really, really good. It is
fun.
It really does look good.
Yeah.
I spent, like the first couple of minutes of the actual,
the intro,
the intro, not only just showing the intro, but as soon as as soon as Marcus walked out of the prison cell and got into the windows, I mean, I just stood there and rotated the camera because I wanted to show everybody where they improved the lighting.
The light coming through the window.
And shining on his and moving as he moved. I mean, the lighting has been increased. Let's not also forget it's not just an asset upgrade; it's a resolution upgrade. Isn't the big mantra for next gen 1080p? I mean, isn't that the whole?
No,
this is what 4K. It has to be. This is what it has to be. So it hits that. And in multiplayer, it hits both of those ridiculously unrealistic needs.
You know what's interesting though, Mike, is it's this one score that people are focusing on because it's kind of low and it seems like the outlier again. But there are 6-7 other scores that are very high. So
there's one other piece to it. The reviewer was actually the same guy at GameSpot that reviewed the original 360 version. That's why I harp on it. Not simply because it's a outlier review. This guy gave the original version a 9.6. Mm-hmm. And so he went from that to 2 out of 5 because it's the same game. And he even said, I got into the multiplayer, and it almost sounds like he was paraphrasing himself, saying, yeah, I got into the multiplayer, got my butt kicked in multiplayer, and I just really don't want to play anymore. So 2 out of 5. I mean, he didn't reference the 60 frames per second. He didn't reference any of the new maps. He basically said, I played it. Nobody around me has the my skill level, so I got beat. So that's it. I mean, it just if he didn't review the game, the original game, the OG game, then I think you just go, okay, fine, whatever. But just the fact that it was that stark of a difference, that all of a sudden a game that he loved so much in 2006, it's like saying, Star Wars: A New Hope was an awesome movie, but you know what? I don't like it now. I mean, who says that? It does, right?
Well, again, it's the one guy, and there's plenty of other reviews that we can look at that are very high. So,
well, the only review that's going to matter is Next Level Gaming's review, right? So, but and I want to point, I
hope you're not cursing in that review, by the way.
Well, I want to point out too that the reason that we have not just thrown a review up, because obviously it is the same game. We could do it. I mean, we could sit here and review it right now on the podcast. But the reason that we don't is because we're going to take significant time to do the multiplayer. We're going to take significant time to do the co-op, and we're going to make sure that we do this right, so that we tell people, those who are looking for it, exactly what they want, what they're hoping for, if they are. Would I like to have seen them up the AI? Yes. That is, it was a hard sticking point for me, but I still respect the game for what it was, and that's why I spent 2 hours on it. And to be quite honest with you, when the stream was over, I went up, I got a drink, I came back downstairs and said, "Oh no, I'm getting through that door," and I played another half hour off stream just because I I remember that stuff, and I wanted, I
Yeah.
wanted it. I wanted to play.
Brian, it was a shot of vodka for him, and he went back downstairs.
Yeah, I could imagine.
It was a martini, right?
Yeah, martini. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that's Gears, and I agree with Brian. If you have an Xbox One, part of the reason
it's a must buy.
Part of the reason you have an
Yeah.
Xbox One is because of Gears. I am sure.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah,
get
I
the
agree
game.
with Brian. It's definitely a must-buy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you guys catch Cliffy B tweeting out some of the
Yeah.
he was kind of giving like his historical perspective on Gears.
I thought that
Yeah.
was awesome.
That was really cool.
I sent him a tweet of that review, and I asked him, "What do you think?" so far, nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sure he's
Yeah.
he may actually be friends with Jeff. I mean,
Yeah.
Look, I was around there too. I did not review the game. I actually gave it the original. I gave to one of my other staff members, so I don't have a frame of reference to go back to say it. So I'm kind of reviewing it based upon my experience with the original Gears, which is what I feel like, and this is my opinion. This, all journalists have a special opinion, and I like I said, it's not that I didn't understand what people were saying about that. It's just my opinion is you judge a remake by its original, not by what it's supposed to be now. And we have this issue where everything's coming out as a remake. So there's a lot of different. It very well could be that some reviewers, and I don't say this just about Gears, but maybe about other remakes and remasters, that maybe people are having a tough time because there's so many of them, and we don't know how to really approach them the right way because we don't have the experience with it. I can understand that, which is why I'm not, why I disagree with that opinion, but I don't think the guy is a horrible guy.
No, not at all.
I just think I look at it in a slightly different way, and my step back and look at it from a journalistic standpoint is, this is a remake of an original game. How does it stack up to the original?
Exactly.
That's how I feel about it.
Yep.
Well, let's keep this podcast moving so we're not here until dawn.
Ooh, I like that segue.
Nice.
Look at that.
I need a rim shot.
Nice.
Yes.
So that is the other big release for this week,
Yes.
and that appears to be getting some pretty good
Yeah.
play on the press too. Unfortunately, full disclosure, we're still working on Sony contacts. I'm trying, but
Well, I'm just going to buy it.
maybe we
Amber
can
picking it up.
maybe we can coax you into a review and then give you something else as a compensation.
Nobody has to compensate me. Me with videos, I usually don't give scores. I just say, "Hey, I like it. It's good." Hey,
Nothing
play
wrong
it.
with that. Honestly, the first couple of video reviews that I did, I scored, and it's just habit
I
because
hate
that's the way.
scores.
But that's the way we used to do it. Now we used to do it on the old site. We used to do it out of 100.
Yeah.
Eurogamer does not do.
And I love
scores.
that they changed. I love that
And
they changed.
I kind of see it. I kind of see it.
Recommend, not recommend, because a review, if you're going to say a review is subjective, then you can't add math to something that's subjective. Because math is not subjective; it's mathematics.
Yeah.
1 and 1 is
Yeah.
2. It's not 2 because I felt like I wanted it to be 3, but let's.
Well,
make
and that's
it 2.
why we did. That's why we did them in 100, so I could be so granular that I could give it an 86 and
Yes.
say, it's. But look, back then, it worked. Now, I can
No,
kind
it
of see
doesn't.
why it doesn't work, and there's a lot of, especially in the indie game scene, it's kind of unfair to me that indie games have to get judged in the same score realm as a AAA game, when I could easily recommend 3 dozen indie games, but I can't give just a little preview. I can't give Adventures of Pip a 5 out of 5. I mean, it's not. It's a different scoring. It's a different curve than if I'm reviewing Gears of War. So I kind of see it, and I'm thinking that my next couple of reviews are probably not going to have scores on them, and we'll try to pick a different way of doing it.
So, what do you think about Until Dawn?
You guys are the PS4 owners. You tell me.
I think it looks interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because it was kind of a game that really just kind of flew under the radar.
Yeah, they
And
did put it out there on its own with no marketing, no word. Yeah. But I mean, it's a different genre of game. I don't think many people have been exposed to types of games like this beyond games like Heavy Rain or Beyond Two Souls. Recently, those types of games where
good games, by the way.
Exactly, Heavy Rain was so good, and I was one of, I guess, the few people that liked Beyond. A lot of people didn't, but they're narrative-driven experiences, and they're not traditional games in the sense that you're in control 100% of the time. You have to sit through a story. You have to get to know characters, and the gameplay is limited in types of games like that because you have to stay within the realm of a story, and everything you do has to serve the narrative. But I think those types of games, they're important types of games because whenever there's a genre of games that isn't utilized a lot, and games like that don't have a lot of, there aren't a lot of games like that, like Beyond Two Souls, like Heavy Rain, like this, current game Until Dawn.
Yeah.
It's important for, every genre to be represented.
Yeah, no, I agree, and they actually, it seems like they pulled off the, that
campy '80s,
that horror genre of the '80s, the
Friday the 13th,
the Halloweens, they pulled it off. It sounds like so.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. You know why? Because I saw a lot of criticisms being levied to it, where it was too campy, it was very predictable. But you know what? Go back and watch Friday the 13th. I mean, it was so campy. It was so. Even the first Evil Dead movie. Remember how funny and campy that was?
Yeah.
And that's what was great about that back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I could appreciate stuff like that.
Well, I don't think there's a. I've heard some of the criticism. There has been a little bit. Interactive movie, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
I don't find.
Try Metal Gear if you want an interactive movie.
Yeah. Right.
Which
but always gets great scores. Right?
I'll tell you, a game that was really quirky. I kind of liked it. I got most of the way through it before other games came about. It was D4. Dark Dreams Don't Die. That's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm also because I'm old. And because those are the games I used to play, the old point-and-click games. Those are there is a spot for these types of games in the market.
Exactly.
Not everything has to be shooty, sports, racing.
I think that these games are the ultimate evolution of those early point-and-click titles. I really do.
I agree.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I love them. I know a lot of people don't, but I think that they're a breath of fresh air in between the shooters, in between the sports games, in between the puzzlers, in between everything else that we're getting bombarded with. It's nice to try something different.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I think so.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah.
The nice thing about it is that companies and developers are taking chances on games like this now. So we get an Until Dawn that we get to play. So. Again, hopefully we can get you to review it for us. And
man, Mike's really throwing this review thing.
I really am.
Like
I really am.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So I think
you're the only one that's probably going to pick it up.
Well, and that's the thing is that I can't. I can't. I only have an Xbox, so I can't. So you're it.
You have to get a PS4.
I do,
yeah.
and I will. I've never said I won't. It's just.
Well, I'm bringing out someone right now to start a Kickstarter for PS4 for Mike.
Hey,
hey.
So, there's
fund me.
A GoFund. Hey, in the old days.
Oh, back when we used to have a wagon train.
So but it's a different world out there, and I now have 3 kids and a wife. So, just I say it almost every podcast, and I'm really not making it up. Money is an issue, so this is where I'm at. But that's why I've got you guys. And Amber, she has a PS4.
And Amber actually said she might pick it up, I think.
There you go.
But we'll see.
She needs
Taking King's coming out in 2 weeks.
She needs right. That's true.
Yeah,
and she needs internet in order to do YouTube reviews. So she needs internet for that.
But you know, Mike, I'll say this: the game has definitely grabbed my attention because I grew up, watching those kind of cheesy '80s horror flicks. So it's something that's kind of caught my attention. I may at least give it a rental. Just to check it out.
It is nice checking out a really pretty game too, and it does look really, really good.
It does, yeah.
Graphically, yeah.
Well, I think that is. I think that's an underrated thing for a game like that. I mean, everybody harps on graphics, but I think people harp on it more in a technical sense of resolution and frame rate, and they don't look at them in aesthetics or art.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why games are still stuck in the 8 to 16-year-old playing them, and people outside of gaming don't see games as art.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
It is, and I mean, people are the reviews that I've seen that aren't totally positive, bang on its quirky story and stuff like that, but that's what makes those games sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like saying, hey, Gears didn't evolve. Well, it has a quirky story because it's supposed to have a quirky story. It's not supposed to be what you want it to be, a mature adult story in 2015. It's paying homage to those campy, cheesy horror movies.
Right.
So you have to base it on what it is and not what you want it to be.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And so, but it's getting really good reviews. It's getting very good scores from the major sites. So, I think it's going to be fine, and I think all said and done, it's going to be a successful title for Sony. It's a nice feather to have in the cap. I want to see the next D4 release myself. Whether or not we get it or not, I don't know. So to fill the gap with something like this, for Sony, it's really nice.
Yeah. So. Metal Gear.
So that's coming out next week.
Did you guys see the trailer?
Yes,
it is.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
It's on our Twitter. It's on our Twitter feed. So...
Go ahead.
All right. Speaking of reviews, now let me preface this because I want people to understand this has nothing to do with platform, because of course this game is a multi-platform game. Yeah. Xbox One, PS4, PC. Nothing to do with platform. This has everything to do with what I consider, once again, reviewing ethics. So, the forward operating base, which is the online portion of this game, isn't going to be ready until the launch of the game. Now, I've checked this a couple of times because there was some confusion as to when the multiplayer was launching. Everything that I have read, and I'm still waiting on some confirmation from Konami themselves, is that...
Konami.
Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I didn't want to say it.
Konami.
Kojima coming next.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I see how this is.
Multiplayer not available at launch.
The multiplayer will be available at launch. It wasn't available during this review process.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure why most places have already reviewed the game. Now, to the betterment of a couple of review sites, they have not. They've given kind of a work in progress. But some sites have already decided to do a full-on review with the caveat that, well, we'll change the score, based upon... and that's... I'm not...
I'm sure the Metacritic loves that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I get it. This is...
Yeah. It's Metal Gear.
It's Metal Gear. There's a lot of sentiment. And let's be honest, reviews, parts of reviews, because they're subjective, is emotion. Yeah. It always has been. It always will be.
Which is why I do not think math should be a part of a review.
And it's... As I've aged, I agree with you. That said, do you think that this game should have been fully reviewed this far from the...
I would have said... I still... Personally, myself, I'm not a big multiplayer person. However, if you're offering me a product and you're saying it's going to have X, Y, and Z in it, but you tell me here it is, and it has X and Y, Z is coming later, but I want you to tell me how you like it. It's hard for me to do that because I can't experience the Z part. I can only experience the X and the Y part, right? So it's difficult to say, here's the final score on something that isn't finished yet, and we'll change it later on. Now, I've read a lot of people that say, well, Metal Gear traditionally isn't a multiplayer game. That is true. It's traditionally a single-player, story-driven experience, a crazy story, that most people can't figure out. But that's the traditional Metal Gear game, and I get being able to review the game based on that. But if you're a professional site and there's a part of something that isn't there, to me personally, it's difficult to look at, again, a mathematical value assigned to something that you just don't have a piece of yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still kind of confused a little bit about when the multiplayer actually is launching, because there was one site that said, that, and I think I shared this with you, Mike, on Twitter, that the multiplayer wasn't going to be available till I think a couple months later down the road, right? And so, if that piece is not available right away, I guess you just do your due diligence and review what's available at launch, and maybe you do go back, and review the other piece that's coming later down the road. But if in fact that multiplayer piece is available at launch, then I think, as you mentioned, from a journalistic standpoint, you have to probably wait to include it.
And I don't disagree with that if it's that far out that you can make the review now.
Yeah.
And a great example of that is Drive Club. Drive Club had a weather component that wasn't coming out until the holiday time when it launched. So I think it's very fair to review the game as it is, and then you could go back and you can take a second look. I don't think a re-review is fair, because you could do that with any game, and then a year later, Sunset Overdrive could have a whole new component to it, and you go back and review it, and then all of a sudden it gets a higher score. Any game like that, I don't think that's fair to re-review it. But I certainly think that if what's in there is not is complete by that standard, then yeah, you review it.
You know what's interesting though? We're in the buy now, patch later era.
We are.
So I think review scores are there too, where you're buying a game and then you take the game home, you install it, and then there's a 9 gig patch day one. Whereas now you're getting the same type of review scores where you're getting a half of a review now and we'll patch the rest in later.
And the weird thing about that is that, again, this is uncharted territory for the gaming industry. This didn't happen last gen. This certainly didn't happen in the generations before high-speed internet and everybody having an Ethernet jack on their console and Xbox Live and PSN and stuff like that. You bought a game, and if it was broken, it was broken. And so this is such a weird gen with so many new things that I see that point, Brian. The issue that I think here is, I think that the forward operating base, from everything that I have seen, launches with the game. Yeah. So it should be reviewed after the game's launch with that component in it, so you can base it upon that.
Yeah. And the multiplayer is not behind a paywall.
It is not.
Right. I had made a mistake earlier. Go figure, I made a mistake, right?
Well, that never happens.
It is not behind a paywall, but there are microtransactions that they're calling quote-unquote accelerators.
Yes.
Right.
With you can use money for that, or you can apparently earn money through the campaign as well.
Right. Yeah, you can earn coins through the campaign.
Right.
So, I don't know if we're going to get a chance to review Metal Gear Solid. It may be a game I pick up. I'm not a Metal Gear fan per se. I'm not a hater of it. There's always been other stuff to play.
It's one of those games that skews heavily PlayStation.
It's not even about that, because I've owned PS3, PS2, 1. So it has nothing to do with what platform it's on for me. It was never my kind of game. I tried 4. I bought 4.
Yeah, that wasn't even on the 360. That was on the PS3.
Right. And the whole joke about it would take 8 discs and whatnot. But
I remember that.
I remember.
Yeah, I do remember that.
But I did buy it. Yeah. And about 45 minutes into the first movie, I'm like, am I going to play this game?
I did like it, though. I really did like it.
I did like it, too.
I couldn't get into it because
you have to know what you're getting. Yeah.
Exactly. Now,
but I liked it because it was kind of a change of pace, though. Even though it felt like a movie, it was a nice change of pace.
I've heard that 5 is not. That even people who aren't Metal Gear Solid fans will find something in this game. So, I may pick it up. I may take a crack at this one.
People are making some bold predictions saying that it's the best Metal Gear.
Well, possibly. You have to take into account again the emotional factor. It's Kojima's last Metal Gear.
Kojima,
yeah. It's Kojima's last Metal Gear. So there's going to be that, that sentiment. It's difficult to listen to Solid Snake and not hear David Hayter's voice. It's very difficult for me because that's who I heard since the Well, if you had it on the MSX2, Mike, remember that one?
I remember that.
If you played Metal Gear when it came out on the MSX2, there wasn't any voice actors, but everyone knows it from the PS1, and that was David Hayter, the voice actor, and he was through them all right up until 4, and then they got rid of him. Now you have Kiefer Sutherland, I believe, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and I just keep thinking Jack Bauer.
I do too, and the voice of Marcus Phoenix.
Right. Yeah. Wouldn't it have been great if instead of Kiefer Sutherland they got Michael Ironside?
Oh my God!
From Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell, yeah.
Let me tell you the man crush I've always had on Michael Ironside.
Oh boy, this is getting creepy. Let's
It hasn't even been, and it's not even the Metal Gear. It's not Splinter. It's not been Splinter Cell.
Was it from V? Oh. Great.
I'm telling you, it's from Starship Troopers.
Oh,
that was a great. You know what? I actually love that movie.
Would you like to know more?
Yes.
Would you like to know? Yeah. Would you like to know more?
Michael Ironside. Would you like to know more? So anyway, it's strange because Michael Ironside also did not do. Was it the last Splinter Cell?
The last Splinter Cell.
He did not do the last Splinter Cell.
That was I kind of understand that from that perspective because I said the same thing. I'm like, wait a minute, how do you not have Michael Ironside and
that was a very good game, the last Splinter Cell. I enjoyed it.
It was really good.
I thought it was really good.
It was good.
But just to not have those voice actors,
it's different.
It is, and it makes you go, well, it's not really the character. So and I don't know Eric Johnson from A Hole in a Wall. He's the one who took over for him. I know that. I think he was in Smallville, and he did like a little bit. Like my wife and I watched a show called Rookie Blue, and he was in that. But other than that, I don't really know the guy much. So I can understand the angst between switching out a major character's voiceover like that. Wasn't the other guy? Who was the other guy in Splinter Cell? His boss, who was also Pedro Serrano, and the voice of Allstate.
The Allstate guy.
What is his name?
What's his name?
Oh man. It's going to come to me.
I know who you're talking about.
I hear those keys going in the background.
It's going to come to me because I'm typing it in.
It's going to come to me when I search Google.
Type it in.
As he's binging. No, he doesn't Google, he bings.
As I'm binging it in. Right, Dennis Haysbert. Well, I also remember Dennis Haysbert from 24. He was...
he was.
He was one of the presidents in 24. Yeah. So anyway, we're getting off track.
Well, Brian, you brought up something interesting earlier. You said that Metal Gear's kind of, associated with the PlayStation, and I agree with that because
it is.
I remember playing Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation and just being my mouth dropping.
Oh yeah, the PS1 you mean? The first the first Metal Gear Solid game, PS1.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
to me, the part where in the beginning where you're in the snow and you're hiding and the guard sees your footprints and says, "Whose footprints are these?"
Yeah.
I remember that moment and I thought, wow, the games are really changing,
Yeah, yeah.
But just a great series, it really is.
Yeah. You know, and
I pre-ordered my copy today.
This kind of speaks to something that we talk about with Xbox gamers and buying games. You know, it's like I'm gonna sadly give another baseball reference, Brian. I'm sorry. Nowadays in baseball, when you have a left-handed hitter that pulls the ball to the left every time, the infield goes into what's known as the shift. It's basically just pulling everybody over where they think the guy's going to hit. Mm-hmm. And the way that you beat the shift is you either hit a home run or you hit where the people aren't in that shift. Well, the reason that this is such known as a PlayStation brand game, rather, is because Xbox gamers don't buy it. They've had ample opportunities to buy Metal Gear Solid games. And I understand they're not necessarily the mainline games, and they didn't get 4.
Yeah.
But when given the chance, you know, look at Metal Gear Solid Ground Zero. That went nowhere on the Xbox. I'm still questioning whether anybody downloaded it. I did, because it's a free game for the month.
Well, the problem is that all the people screaming that resolution doesn't matter didn't buy it because of the resolution, which makes no sense.
Right.
So, I mean, but again, not getting 4 is a big deal, and the whole start of the Metal Gear franchise, basically, unless you're really old like we are, is associated with the PlayStation 1.
Yeah, right. No, I agree with that. But if Xbox owners wanted to change that perspective,
yeah, you got to buy games.
They got to buy games. This would be their opportunity, because 5 is a big game. Now it's their last opportunity because this series is more or less dead after.
I think it's going to be a monster on the PlayStation 4.
Oh, it absolutely really is. I said last week that they made a tactical error in not bringing that European bundle over here.
Oh my, absolutely.
That would have been nice.
With that gorgeous red console.
Oh, yep. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, I mean that's so. But you're right. It's going to do absolute monster numbers.
Yeah.
This might be a must-have for you, man. You might have to go. Yeah, I mean seriously.
But the great thing about it is I can play it. I can go and buy it.
Yeah.
So it's I got to get through a few things, and I'm thinking about it. I really am. I'm considering getting the game, and not it'll be my second real shot at Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
All right, very good. So, the last kind of big conversation topic that I wanted to bring up kind of bleeds into something that I know we've wanted to talk about since week 1 of I know Enrique, of us getting together on the podcast, and then Worry coming a few weeks later. So we've always had this debate online and in forums and on Twitter and even within people's editorials and things like that, of physical versus digital. Who owns what? Is physical still relevant? Is digital catching up? Are people afraid of digital? And of course, we have the 2013 E3 to base everything off of, and the radical backlash that happened as a result of the Xbox One and what they wanted to do, kind of merging the physical and digital together. So now we fast forward to 2015, and we have rumors abound about 2 things. One, a possible Xbox One Slim model without a disk drive, a digital-only console, and, as Enrique found online, Nintendo has... it's your news. Why don't you break it? Well, you're not breaking it, but why don't you tell us?
So Nintendo filed a patent for their next game console, and basically it's really just a diskless game console. So Nintendo, interestingly enough, is going to kind of step into that realm of really digital only. They're going to kind of beat Sony and Microsoft to the punch here. So, initially there was rumors going around a couple weeks ago about this, and then the patent was posted online. So, and then as you guys know, you guys have heard the more recent rumors about the some kind of new Xbox One,
a slim model.
Yeah, a slim model being discless. So, but I thought it was interesting with Nintendo kind of taking this step. I mean, this is kind of official for them now. They're really going in a different direction. Um, and we can assume now that it's safe to say they're going to go all digital.
I mean, I don't, personally, I don't have a problem with digital. And this is coming from somebody who's collected every system you can imagine. I have boxes full of games. I have instruction manuals galore hanging out of, shelves. I'm at the point where, to me, the most important thing isn't the package, isn't the disc, it's the information on the disc. It's the game.
Right.
So that's what's important to me. And I also like the idea of, when this generation's over, I'm going to take the PlayStation and the Xbox, put them on a shelf somewhere, right? And every single game that I bought is going to be on that shelf with the system inside of the hard drive. I like that idea. Now, I know people are still collectors. I know that there's a lot of people that hate digital. They want to own it. They want to feel it. I can't make the decision for them. I can just tell you, for me personally, I do not have a problem with digital. Now, whether or not Microsoft can do that and garner goodwill, I don't think that they can. The goodwill that they scratched back from 2013, I don't think they're willing to give that up. And I think there'd be a huge backlash against them doing that. Not to mention the fact that there's a feature in the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, and that's Blu-ray movies. How are you going to buy Blu-ray movies? How are you going to play them in a system without a Blu-ray drive? Now, are people buying movies digitally, building collections? I'm sure they are, but not at the rate that people are adopting physical Blu-ray still.
Well,
so I don't know that Microsoft's going to do that. I really don't. I think 80-90% they're not going to do it.
I actually think, and I'm on the other side here, I think that if they did release this console, I don't see there being backlash because you still have the option to get, the Xbox One with.
Yeah, but you're talking rational. You're talking rationally.
Look, everybody who is irrational about this has already made their call, and nothing is going to change them.
Right.
So I finish. I want you to finish your thought, Enrique, because I do have thoughts on this. I want to know, but I don't want to cut you off.
Yeah. Well, I think you're probably you're going to have some people out there that didn't like the DRM thing that are probably going to speak out about it again. But I think from a just general public perspective, you're not going to see a big backlash because you still have the option, to buy, the Xbox One that comes with the physical, disk drive. But this more is going to be an option if it does come out, and I think you'll probably have some people, pick up this, Xbox Slim and kind of go all digital, but I just don't see the backlash because you still have the option. Microsoft isn't kind of forcing your hand in this.
This is probably the route that they could have taken from the start as far as a SKU. Having both the standard SKU with the drive, like normal, and then for those who wanted to move to digital without the fear, who didn't have the fear of the DRM and all that, could have this. I agree with you, Enrique. I think that as long as you walk into a store, you still see the full-on disc version. I can buy this $349, and I have the option if I wanted to buy a $299 discless Xbox One. And let's, that's digital. Maybe it also doesn't. If they really want to slim down and bring the price down to maybe $279, maybe they pull the HDMI out. That kind of thing. I think that as long as you still prominently show this is for people who don't want the discs.
Yeah.
That want to pay less, then here it is. If you don't want this, here's the regular Xbox One. Here's the whole shelf full of our games. Have at it.
they need to hire someone who understands how to explain that to people.
Yeah, they
hire
really do.
someone from Sony.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Right? Don't just say, hey, there's one over there. You could buy it, a nuclear submarine. All right?
Right. Yeah, right. This one not good for submarines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I've been completely digital.
Yeah,
the
I
only
as well.
the only physical game that I owned for a short time was my darling wife bought me Watch Dogs for my birthday, and she didn't know. She knows that I collected 2 million Xbox 360 games and 2 million PS3 games, and so she kind of thought I still played them on that. And I said, okay, well, thank you very much, but next time just get me Microsoft points and let me buy it on the console, because I love
she
that.
Started crying. I'm just trying to please you. Why can't you like what I get you?
Mike slept on the couch that night.
Yeah.
Well, because I was playing Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
His hands screaming, I want points.
Bring me points.
Damn you.
So.
Gator wants points.
So anyway, the really nice thing about digital for me is that because I'm also lazy, I don't have to get up, which is nice. But I have everything on a external hard drive on my Xbox One. I know other people who have Xbox Ones that I am friends with that are in my vicinity. I could take that drive and take it to my friend's house and plug it into his Xbox One, and all of my games are there. I don't have to carry a whole sleeve, binder of discs anymore, and I like that. I like the convenience. I like having that. What I will say that I wish somebody would come up with at some point is going to be some sort of digital storefront for resale.
Yeah.
Because I understand, the argument, the main argument against digital is, well, when I'm done with the game, I can't do anything with it. And that's a very legitimate point. You pay for a game, What if you buy the game? Because there's no demos. There's not a lot of demos anymore. What if you buy the game and it really sucks? You can get, I think you can get you can get a refund once. But if you start to abuse the refund system, they ban you on your console. So that's not really a great. It's not really a great procedure for them. So somebody has to come up with some sort of digital storefront for that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when it's going to happen, if it's going to happen. I mean, it's definitely going to happen. But I mean, the same people that are screaming they don't want digital because they're collectors, and you have another whole group of people screaming they don't want digital because they can't get rid of them. So it's an odd sort of give and take that's going on.
Right.
But
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there will be. I mean, can you do that? I think you can trade in with Steam, right?
Steam has some. They do have a refund process, that's for sure. They do have a return policy that I'm pretty sure almost immediately got abused.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'll say this: whoever comes up with a digital store where you can trade games is going to be rich.
Yeah. So
I mean,
Steam's policy is Steam will refund within 2 weeks of purchase with less than 2 hours of playtime.
Wow.
So you have to, you have to kind of prove, and you can return. You can actually refund DLC there too, within 14 days of purchase, and if the underlying title has been played for less than 2 hours since the DLC was purchased.
Now, how about a trade-in policy?
That I do not see.
Okay.
Now, of course, they don't refund purchases made outside of Steam. I can't believe that they actually have to put that on their site, but people have to put "Do not drink shampoo" on the box of the shampoo bottle. So
right. Oh, wait a minute! You can't drink shampoo? Damn it!
I
don't know,
he's been making his martinis with shampoo.
That explains.
My teeth were so clean, but every
that
time
explains
the bubble came out.
That explains an awful lot, man.
Yeah.
So anyway, somebody's got to come up with that and it's going to have to be. I think it's going to have to be something that.
Imagine if it's Nintendo.
Well,
Imagine
it's funny.
if Nintendo comes out with the console with no disc drive. They go digital before all the big boys do, and then they launch this amazing store. Look, this is a pipe dream. They launched this amazing storefront, buying digitally, selling digitally, renting DLC, sending it back. Imagine all that just comes out and works.
I have a feeling they're going to have to. I don't think they're going to have a choice if they really do bring out a discless console with no other option.
Yeah, and actually, the patent for the discless console also mentions something of it having an SD card slot too. So, who knows what that's for? But yeah, I mean that would be amazing if they did that. I mean, they would beat everyone to the punch.
I found the lack of backlash on this, by the way, deafening.
Yeah, I was surprised that we didn't hear a whole lot about it. And actually, this was originally, I originally heard about this on your favorite website.
Oh, can we get through one podcast?
So please. I was surprised there wasn't backlash.
This is twice now, though. I just want to say that I haven't done it. This is the second week in a row where I have said nothing.
Yes, I know.
It's like you're goading me. It is. You're doing it on purpose. I know. Maybe a little. So, this will. Man, I think they're gonna have to. I think they're gonna have to do something. But I am surprised that that they're not. And it could be because Nintendo has to gain some relevance again before they can be. Before they could really be thrashed in the online world. I think people are just kind of, we do it. How much Nintendo do we really talk about here?
We
haven't done it since.
I don't think we're allowed to. If we talk about it, they might put a copyright claim on it.
That's very true.
I don't think we're allowed to talk about them at all.
I cannot
believe
say
the word Nintendo.
Just a little behind the scenes, how the sausage is made. Do you know that we cannot monetize our podcast with when we talked about Iwata because I put Nintendo videos on it and Nintendo immediately put claim on it.
Wow,
they are ridiculous. Whereas,
it is kind of crazy, but I do kind of, and I don't want to, say it's good to do. They shouldn't do it, but I kind of appreciate the fact that they see their IPs as golden. They're almost like Disney. You know what I mean? Where it's theirs, don't touch it, it's ours. Yeah. And I know people don't like that, but I kind of appreciate that a little bit. The way that they.
I understand.
Yeah.
But at the same time, a lot of other people think that their IPs are golden too and are just trying to spread it. Let me tell you, they need positive press more than anybody right now because they're getting none. I mean, we talked about the passing of Iwata and then it was back to normal business for everybody. Sure. And let me tell you, it's really interesting the holiday. We're so focused on who's going to beat who in the holiday season? And very quietly, if you look, Nintendo's got an impressive lineup.
They always do. It's always sort of just overlooked, but they always do.
I mean, we're talking some good stuff that just nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
Super Mario Maker and there's just a ton of 3DS stuff.
Star Fox.
Right?
Star Fox.
They're not going down without a fight as far as what they feel their customers want. Right. Obviously they're out of the running or race or war or whatever you want to call it. They're gearing up for the next console, so they kind of are just kind of sputtering along.
I'm rooting for them.
I am too.
Yeah, I am too.
I am rooting for them in a big way. But everybody's doing Super Smash Brothers tournaments. I mean, this is like a big thing, and nobody talks about it. Yeah. So quietly, they have an impressive upcoming lineup as well, and it's nice to talk about them once in a while. It's just I think next year is when they're going to be really
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I'm being facetious about Mario Maker because I think it's going to be a big holiday seller. It's out now, so you can get it. I'm hoping that it's a big seller now. And in fact, I'd be quite honest with you. Because I have 3 kids, I have a 10, a 5, and a 1-year-old, and that Mario Maker Wii U bundle is only $300. I mean, we've considered it.
Yeah.
Because the kids now, my kids are getting into not just the Xbox stuff, but just as an aside, real quick, you tell me a 5-year-old in the year 2015 that goes up to his dad and says, "Hey, Daddy, I'm going to go play Time Pilot." So I have the Xbox 360 game room, and my oldest son found Time Pilot in there because it was one of the games that I bought in one of the packs, and he plays the heck out of it. So now my 5-year-old plays Time Pilot too. So,
great game.
Phenomenal game.
Yeah.
Back when games were games.
Yep.
All right. So moving on from that, I think it was a good discussion, and I like what the future is going to hold because regardless of where it goes, we're going to be able to talk about it, and it's going to be great.
And it's going to launch with Zelda. So.
Oh, let me tell you, I was hoping that was coming out of the Wii U. After that E3 showing, I was like, wow.
Yeah, it looked amazing.
Yeah.
Needs to launch with that, and they need to launch Metroid.
Oh, Metroid, absolutely.
They need to get Retro Studio back working on the Metroid franchise.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So they need another Donkey Kong Country too.
That was excellent.
It really
that was a good game.
And let me tell you, Retro
Talk about hard, old school hard, right?
And Retro did a great job taking over for Rare on that.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
So, speaking of Rare, just real quick, if you guys, our listeners, have not seen, we did do a Rare Replay review. I don't know how many times that we could all say this. If you don't buy this game, then just get rid of your Xbox One. Just get rid of it. Because I mean,
should I get rid of my Xbox One?
if you don't buy it, I mean, $30, $1 a game. And even if you, as I said in my review, even if you throw away the ZX Spectrum games, all the stuff from Ultimate Play the Game before Ultimate Play the Game was scuttled and Rare, was formed, even if you throw that away, that game has so much value from the NES games up that, I mean, I would have paid $30 just for Grab by the Ghoulies.
That looked amazing.
It looked good.
It just brought back memories. It was such an underrated game. Anyway, Rare Replay review is on our channel. Please check it out and then go buy Rare Replay. Just go buy Rare Replay. You know what? Just click on the review. Give us a nice little like. Watch it for 2 seconds and then go buy Rare Replay.
Okay.
All right. So, I said that to say this. We've got some upcoming reviews coming up. Like how I said that, upcoming reviews coming up.
Yeah.
It's getting late. Okay. So, things that we have on the docket. An Adventures of Pip review is due. I'm hoping to get that on Thursday. Just some quick impressions. I really like it. I thought at first that it was just going to be another one of these kind of 2D run jump kind of things, but not to give too much away. What they have done with the main character to have him maneuver through the elements of the various worlds, and there are multiple worlds. There's a lot of levels. I thought that there's some ingenuity in the character design and in the gameplay that I haven't seen before. And just like Ori and the Blind Forest, it has a dynamite, gorgeous soundtrack that actually reminds me a lot, from start to finish, of the old Sega CD JRPGs that just hit you with this orchestra music and piano music right off the bat. So it sucked me in. So that review's coming, and you can kind of tell where I'm headed with it. Next, at some point, we're going to get up to Swindle. Enrique.
Oh, yeah.
That
I know
one's
you're loving
yours?
it.
You let me tell you something. That game, and it's probably one of the more challenging games that I played more recently, especially for a side scroller. But one of the things I do love about it though is actually believe it or not, I think we're talking about, I guess, artistic direction. Not being appreciated enough in games, and I certainly love the artistic direction in this game. But it's definitely a challenging game. It's tested my patience a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, so we're hoping to have that up this week, I think.
Yeah, we'll have it up this week.
Okay. And we also have the next one that you're going to work on is Volume, which is Mike Bithel's game, and that looks really neat. And I didn't realize this until I really read through some of it. It's got a level editor, so I can't wait to see what you do with that. Create your own game. It's kind of neat. So that should be coming in the next couple of weeks. Beyond Eyes, thanks to our friends over at Team 17, who I love, as everybody knows. We're working with them to get.
I played that. I played through that.
Well, and that's why I was gonna kind of toss this to you.
It's like an exercise in giving you an idea of what it would be like to have a sense, lose it, and then have to rely on another sense to not only do what it normally does, but take the place of the sense that you lost. And it works in doing that. But, as a game, there's not much to do gameplay-wise except, you follow this cat that takes you out of your shell, and in doing so, you wander around the environment. The artistic, again, the art style, it's a pastel watercolored painting where as you walk, the sounds bounce back and paint in the environment, and it's beautiful. But there's just a lot of wandering around. So,
So how does that compare? And I'm not talking about scale. I don't want to get into necessarily a direct comparison, but gameplay wise or idea wise, how does that stack up to Everyone's Gone to the Rapture as far as what it's trying to do? Is it similar?
Well, no, not at all. Because Beyond Eyes is basically you're learning how to deal with being blind, but by using the sense of hearing. Whereas Everyone Gone to Rapture is a first person adventure game where you're following a story. You're looking for clues to clue you into what's happening in an environment. You're interacting with these orbs. That's a completely different game.
Okay,
and it's a very, very good game.
I guess when you were talking about you don't really again, these games are not shooty bang bang.
Right.
Submerged is in that same kind of genre.
Exactly.
Which, as I said, there's a definite place for. Another game that I enjoyed. I thought was it was while it was too short for me.
Yeah.
While I was playing, it was very happy with it. So that's what I was wondering about, and that's kind of what I meant by the between that and Rapture was what are you doing as far as interacting with the environment and things like that.
Yeah.
That's really all I was trying to get at. I really wasn't trying to say is one game better than the other. I mean, obviously one game has a heck of a lot more resources behind it than the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, and so we're going to try to get that. So that's in the review queue. As is, we have Pure Hold'em, which has come out this week as well. I think it came out late last week, and Quest for Dungeons, which comes out in September, which I'm looking forward to. It is a I'm trying to
remember as you Google.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's one of those. It's an overhead.
Sorry, Bing.
It's an overhead. It's not a platformer in the true platformer sense. It's like an overhead.
Isometric?
No, it's not isometric.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what. It's like it looks like Zelda. I mean, it looks like it's a top-down. Yeah, a top-down game that's not your typical platformer. So we're going to get that up next week. We're going to try to get all these reviews up in a timely manner. Look, I want to make sure that we we do our diligence, but at the same time, you guys aren't waiting weeks to get a good review. So that also segues me into something that I tweeted out. We are looking for reviewers because as we get busy, and especially getting into the holiday season, we're not going to be able to keep up with these. So if you are interested, I'll put a link for my Twitter feed, and you can DM me. We do need PS4 reviewers. If you are a multi-platform, that's even better because we will get plenty of Xbox codes, plenty of PS codes, and there's just their time in the day, So we're looking for help, and if you fancy yourself someone who can do a video review, if you've got a good voice and you know what you're doing, give me a DM and we'll talk. All right. Couple of quick things, and then we're actually gonna make it, guys.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna make it. We are going to make an hour and a half if it kills me.
So Paris Game Show is when Halo launches, and Tokyo Game Show is when Forza launches, and it's just a coincidence.
I didn't even think about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Tokyo Game
that's a good
Show.
Point.
Same day. Paris is the same day as not the Paris Game Show. Their press conference.
Their press
Press
conference.
conference.
Is the same day as Halo 5, and the Tokyo Game Show is the same day as Forza.
Tell you what.
Yep, that marketing team again, huh?
There are some. Somebody went to. I'm telling you, somebody
Somebody paid attention in class.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and said, "Hey, we might want to do these on days that." Yeah, let me tell you, and it's it's not just that because. Look, the Tokyo Game Show conference is going to focus a lot on the Japanese market and Japanese games.
Yeah.
How much we can really talk about that, I used to be in that arena, but ever since North America and UK kind of became the top two gaming territories, I haven't paid any attention to the Japanese market. I'm not going to lie. So what they talk about at TGS is going to be very centric to the Japanese market. Probably very, they'll show games that are coming out here, but I don't think they're going to make any huge US-centric or UK-centric, European-centric announcements at TGS. They just don't. They haven't really done it in the past. I don't think they're going to do it again.
Okay.
But, do you think? What do you think what's left? Because don't forget
Final Fantasy, maybe?
Final Fantasy. They made the Kingdom Hearts might be in something.
Well, but these aren't new announcements. I'm talking about new things.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to be new as far as Japanese centric games. I mean, you're going to have probably Persona 5 is going to have a big presence.
Yep.
Not new again, but
I mean stuff that at E3 they announced Horizon, for example.
that's not a Japanese game, though.
No, I know, but what I mean is that I don't think at TGS they're going to make announcements of new games that are really coming over to the U.S.
No, I mean sometimes they announce games, and there's a large percentage of people here that love Japanese style games.
Absolutely.
So they want localization, they want this, they want this, they want this, and you can gauge interest. And if there's enough interest, then games do make it over. But I don't think there'll be. This game is coming out in North America and in the UK and in Japan at the Tokyo Game Show. You're right.
We haven't seen a lot of localization this gen like we've seen in previous gens. Do you think that has anything to do with a lack of region lock on these?
I think it has to do with a lack of really good Japanese style games. To be honest,
could be.
Yeah,
most of those guys are going mobile.
Yeah, there haven't been that many.
No, and one
well,
day
that market's going mobile.
Yeah, well, one day I'd like to use as one of our podcast topics. What's happened to
Japan?
Sega's supposed to have a big announcement.
That's true, and I'm hoping. Please,
don't say it.
Don't
say it.
Well, they've already announced the.
They kind of teased it.
They teased it, and it looks like it's going to be Japanese only and free to play. Please don't use that as your big announcement, Sega. Please don't ruin Phantasy Star Online that way. Please.
Yeah.
I'm getting my Phantasy Star fix with Forza.
Really?
I'm sorry,
Really?
with Fable. With
How many
Fable.
mushrooms did you eat before you got that fix?
I'm getting my fix with Fable Legends,
I got you.
and I've said too much. Please don't ban me.
NDA, Mike. NDA.
Please don't ban me, Lionhead.
Move on.
It's funny that you guys bring up the talented and great marketing team at Sony, because they are also one-upping Microsoft in the Madden department.
Yeah.
So
They pulled it off.
they did. We thought it was just GameStop at first, but Enrique, you said you saw it on Amazon, and
Yeah, it's on
somebody saw it
Amazon.
on Newegg as well. It's funny because there are print ads that literally say buy a PS4, get Madden free.
Yep.
Now
They want every third-party game associated with PlayStation.
I understand that, but here's the crazy part. This game's being bundled with the Xbox. This is an Xbox game as far as EA is concerned. Their videos have the Xbox logo on it, just like Battlefronts have the PS4 logo on it. They have the marketing. They've got the ads. And somehow...
So how are they giving that game away free then?
I don't know.
We can't be eating the cost, right?
Games... Well, that... And see, originally when it was thought that it was just GameStop, you could think, well, it might be a retailer promotion. But multiple retailers?
Yeah.
No. Somebody's kicking money to these guys for that. And here's the kicker part is, Microsoft has fought this battle a little bit on their side too. Destiny came out, they had their promotion.
Yeah.
Well, no, it wasn't the cologne. They had a promotion where you get a free game, and you kind of inferred that Destiny would be that game. They did the exact same thing the week that Batman launched.
Yep.
The difference is they did not name those games. They did not say, buy a Xbox One, get Batman Arkham Knight for free. Sony is just blatantly, and it's, people are going to say, well, it's not Sony, it's the retailers. Let's get real. The retailers themselves are not going against Microsoft marketing on their own. Somebody is feeding them the funds to do this, and they're just blatantly advertising get Madden with the PS4. I mean, it's like they're marketing the game anyway, regardless of what Microsoft's doing. And I've heard nothing from Microsoft on this. Absolutely nothing. It's another example of them just
I'm not really concerned about Madden. I've heard nothing about Forza, and that's coming out soon.
Remember what I said last week when we were talking about walking into GameSpot and not seeing a damn thing about it?
What? Where's the money?
Isn't that coming out in 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I haven't even seen another video.
Yeah,
and they even have the bundle.
Yeah.
They customized console for that.
I've seen nothing about the bundle. I haven't seen a commercial. I haven't seen a billboard. I haven't seen anything.
Not
even online,
thing.
I haven't seen anything. So I guess through osmosis, you're just supposed to know that there's a bundle.
I don't get it. I continue to not understand this. I don't know what the thinking is. And, it's kind of interesting that even Danny, when he was here with us last week, and, him and I are the Xbox guys on the, that talk, neither of us could figure this out either. I mean, you can buy the bundle right now, but you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
The game comes out September 15th.
I don't get it.
I think it's a question of, one company's solely focused on the console space and the console. Microsoft's focused on the entire ecosystem, and, Xbox One isn't just a console anymore to them, whereas, the 360 was, and they really pushed that with marketing deals and advertisements and third party, and that's what I think the difference is now.
But they're not even marketing their own games at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just all there. It might be a case of there's a lot of hands and a lot of different cookie jars with API and DX12 and PC and console
But that's why you have an Xbox division.
I understand that. I'm just trying to find a way to explain why they're not doing as much as Sony might be doing in terms of marketing third party and first party exclusively to just the console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
I
especially for a big franchise like that for them.
Yeah.
Madden is one. Well, I'm sorry, you're talking about Forza, which I agree with.
Forza, yeah.
I'm sorry, but going back to Madden, which was my original point. I mean, they're just letting this happen. No one has made a call to EA. No one has made a call to GameStop or to Amazon and say, hey guys, this might be skirting the rules of a marketing deal. I mean, it's like it's blatant.
Well, you know what's interesting though? You talk about marketing. No one's marketing Call of Duty really that much either, except Sony. But if you go to Amazon right now, the number one bestseller is Call of Duty Black Ops, the Xbox One version. Number 2 game is Metal Gear Solid for the PlayStation 4, and the number 3 and number 4 are points cards. Yep. Number 5 is Madden for the PlayStation 4.
Yep.
And number 9 is Madden for the Xbox One.
Correct.
That's interesting.
Sitting behind Mario Maker, by the way.
Number 7, Mario Maker.
Yep. And
interesting.
So and actually now, Gears of War is 14.
Gears of War is it's number 14 now. So, correct.
The other part that's, and I understand Amazon is not the be all end all, but they're decent.
Well, it's a pretty big indicator of who's buying what online.
Take a look at the consoles. Number 35 is the Destiny Taken King console. Number 37 is the Batman bundle, which is still going strong. You don't see a Microsoft console until 47, and that's the Madden bundle. I mean, and Halo is number 50. Wow. Halo 5.
I mean, listen, I said the same thing. If you're upset about a review score hurting an exclusive game, but you're going to go out and you're going to buy a third-party game before an exclusive game, then you live in a really strange world. You can't be upset that a review score is hurting an exclusive, but then say, I can't wait to buy this third-party game over this first-party game. You understand what I mean?
I absolutely do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I get third parties big, but if and I'm not, but I see a lot of people who say this, that review score is going to kill the Metacritic score for this exclusive game, and then after they're done talking about it, I can't wait to go buy Fallout. What about Halo? Well, I'll get that later on. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or they tout for the first party exclusives, and then they don't go out and buy it.
Until Dawn's coming out. Well, I'm going to get Call of Duty first.
The biggest.
I'm going to play the beta. I'll get Until Dawn later.
The biggest punch in the nuts about this Madden deal.
Yeah.
Is that you go to Newegg.com, which is a fairly popular place for people that buy things, and it's front and center. It's the Batman bundle. So not only do you get Batman, but you get Madden for free. So it's basically its own bundle, and
that's a good deal too.
I don't think that the Xbox division is somehow not seeing this happening, and I just don't understand. They don't seem to be too concerned.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Is that
now I'm not a marketer. I'm not somebody who works for Xbox division, so it's nice to talk about and to try and figure out why they're not concerned.
Yeah.
But if they're not concerned, then
they seem a little lethargic with this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing.
Interesting.
It's one thing to say, "Hey, buy the Batman bundle and get a free game," and wink, wink, nod, nod.
Yeah.
You can get one of those free games. Could be Madden if you want it.
And that exclusive and that bundle is a nice looking bundle. It's a nice looking console.
Which one? The Batman?
The Batman one. Yeah.
Oh, it's a great deal.
Yeah.
That's the best bundle out right now.
It just
in my
makes
opinion.
no sense that somebody from Microsoft is going, okay, now I'm going to cry foul. Like there's just no, there's a line, and
maybe it's when Phil Spencer said we don't care about these third party deals anymore. Maybe they just don't care. Maybe they think that all these first party titles are going to get the kind of support that they hope they're going to get. Maybe they think that's going to make the difference. Now, personally, I buy first party games for everything, but I've noticed a trend where most people aren't buying them. They're buying third party, even though they say they're going to buy them. They're always going to be there. I'll buy them later. Well, that doesn't help. You have to buy them when they launch.
Yeah.
No.
Especially if you're a fan of certain genres of games. So
I bring back Sunset Overdrive and Forza Horizon 2 as my big examples.
Maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe they're thinking that the first party content is going to be, so compelling that they don't have to worry about third party deals. Maybe.
Wow. I
Yeah, I don't agree with it either, but I'm not a big guy in the industry, so.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like I said, in this particular, like I got it. Microsoft said, "Oh yeah, buy a game. Any game." Hint, hint. It could be Destiny if you want. Yeah. This is blatant. This is just outright blatant.
Yeah, it's smart again.
It's very smart. That's just it. It's blatant. It's genius.
Yeah.
But what's great about it? It's we are reaping the benefits of the competition here.
We are.
Yeah, that's the best. Yeah, that's the best part of it as a gamer.
Absolutely.
If you don't own a PlayStation 4, you can go out and get the Batman bundle and Madden.
Yeah. Right.
It's not a bad. It's great.
Yeah, the ones that it hurts is Microsoft.
Yes, the Madden NFL 16 1 terabyte bundle is up to number 47.
Yep.
Wow.
Right now.
Up to 47. I mean, it's the thing is available now. You can buy it now, and it's 47. It's Madden, and it's getting beaten by a 3-month-old Batman bundle and the Taken King bundle.
Yep.
So
and Madden's supposed to be huge here,
and that's on Amazon. That's not that's just us looking at Amazon right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but it is interesting that Call of Duty Xbox One is number 1, right?
I think
that $500 million DLC map pack thing.
Yeah.
Well,
some of that could be the beta.
Maybe they look at that and they say, who cares about third-party deals? I don't know.
Some of that could be pre-ordering to get the beta key.
Yes, you're right. Yes, absolutely.
So that's
it's not indicative of a they're going to sell more than the PlayStation. Yeah. It's just where we are right now on Amazon.
Right. When we get closer to the holiday, I'd like to revisit. I'd like to look and see where all the pro players are with their PS4s and their.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a sense of, where they are. But that's later on. So I would like to finish with a piece of news that I totally forgot about, and Worry, you're going to like this. I can't believe that you did not bring this up when I said, hey, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about? The Diablo 3 patch.
Yeah.
The big 2.3.0 patch. This might actually get me to fire the game up again. With all the ruins. Now I can't even pronounce it. So ruins of, I keep wanting to say Szechuan. The ruins of Szechuan.
Okay.
I don't know. There are.
Did you finish the game? The original
I did.
Game?
I did finish. I finished.
Great game.
Oh, it really was.
Yeah.
And those games, it was for me. And I know there are two different types of games. That isometric thing reminded me so much of Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance that, once I got into it, I didn't care about the grind at all.
No, it's not. You know what it is? It's a grind, but it's doable. It's fun. It's not, it's not tedious. That's what I liked about those old Baldur's Gate games, and Diablo was just fantastic.
Yeah, and this is so. There's a whole new. So these ruins are a whole new place. So it's over. It's in Act 3, and then it's at the top right of the map. So there's a waypoint to this new ruins, and that's the big feature of the patch is this whole new area to explore. There's the Kanai's Cube, which does some different things to your like you can extract legendary powers now, and you can actually equip 3 legendary powers at a time: a weapon, an armor, and a jewelry. So you don't have to have the heck was that thing that allowed you to the ring of
I forget.
The ring of grandeur, I think it was. So you can reforge your legendary sword. And so there's a whole new adventure mode. There's improvements to the rifts. There's new loot, and all kinds of stuff. So what it might do, when that patch comes out, I would be up for streaming it in amongst some of the other things that we're trying to stream. I'd love to get into those ruins and maybe do a little streaming. If you guys are up for it.
Sounds cool.
Enrique, do you have Diablo 3?
I do not have Diablo 3.
If it goes on sale, you might want to grab it. It's great.
Only if you pick up Metal Gear Solid.
Oh boy,
that might happen. I don't know why you're saying, "Oh boy." I don't dislike the game. I might actually get Metal Gear Solid.
And you say it wasn't for you though, right?
The series wasn't, but what I have heard is that people who weren't into the series will still like this game.
Okay.
So look, I'm willing to give it a shot. I gave 4 a shot. I didn't stick with it, but I gave it a shot. I'd be willing to do it again. I don't have a dislike of the game. It's just,
yeah. Well, check it out.
Yeah, I may do that. The local library has games.
Okay.
It does. Our
Really?
local library. Yes, our local library
Like-
up here has
Current gen games, or
Yeah.
really?
Yes. Our libraries up here in Harford County have Xbox One games.
That's really cool.
So, and they do tend to get newer titles. So, yeah, I might check and see when it comes in, and maybe I'll get it that way, check it out, and if I like it, I'll buy it.
Cool.
So, all right. Is there anything else that you gentlemen have on the docket tonight?
Bed is about it for me.
Enrique, anything?
No, I don't have anything else to say other than, as always, I've enjoyed this podcast. So, but no, nothing else to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great stuff. I mean, even on a short week like this, we still manage to find great stuff to talk about. And what I appreciate about this podcast is I feel like we bring not only a kind of a calm, sense of level-headedness to the gaming world, but there's a lot of intelligence in this podcast going on, and I think that the more of this people get to hear, I think the more it can resonate with people who just want to hear some good talk. They want to hear some news. They want to find out what's going on in the world of gaming, and they want people who, I think there's a segment of people out there who, want that nice, objective look. So I'm really glad. I feel like when I brought Next Level Gaming back, even though I don't have the original 2 other guys that started this with me, I actually feel lucky because, you guys add something that I couldn't do on my own to this podcast. And look, at some point, Amber's going to get all her internet stuff straightened out, and she'll be back, and she adds something, too, that I've never had, as far as a nice female perspective, somebody who is very deep into Destiny and possibly other games. So I feel happy, blessed, and lucky to have you guys aboard. So that's...
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you were saying. I was sniffing glue. What was that? Something about intelligence or something? I don't know.
Well, you and drinking the shampoo.
Yeah.
Shampoo and glue.
Look, if I didn't have you guys, who would correct me when I talked about Hideo Kojima?
Oh, okay,
Oh,
we're going to
boy.
say the other thing. All right.
Right, who'd stop me from talking about them?
Yeah.
All right, so let's wrap this up. As always, our intrepid listeners, thank you so much for listening. We're here for you guys. If you're new to our podcast and you've happened upon us, if you like what you hear, please hit the like button. Please subscribe to our channel. We're growing. We're very happy with that, but we need subscribers. We need you guys, and we need you guys to stick around. And something I have to type every once in a while, if you've gotten this far in our podcast, if you click the dislike button, it's cool. Everybody does it. It's cliche. It's the thing to do, I guess. At least be kind enough to tell us in the comments why. If it's something we're doing wrong, give us let us know so we can make adjustments. If it's the content, tell us why. Let us interact with you. As long as you're not coming as a fanboy or a console warrior, we have no problem. All three of us have no problem coming to your house and beating you down. I mean, we have no problem engaging you in the comment section and talking to you. We want you guys to be involved as we are. So subscribe, comment, like, follow us on Twitter at OG_NL Gaming, also on Twitch at OG_NL Gaming, and Enrique and Brian, thank you guys once again.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It brings a level of joy to my week. It really does. So on behalf of you guys, once again, I'm Mike Mullis. This is the original Next Level Gaming podcast. Everybody have a great rest of the week. Great weekend.
Have a great weekend and play on, gamers.